My coffee mug slips from my fingers and shatters against the kitchen tile, sending ceramic shards skittering across the floor. I barely notice. My eyes remain fixed on my phone, thumb scrolling through image after image of smiling faces gathered in my aunt's sunlit backyard. 34 guests. I count them methodically, as if the number might somehow change if I try again. Cousins I haven't seen in years, my mother's college roommate, even great Aunt Judith, who needs a walker to get around. Everyone except me. The bridal shower photos showed tables draped in cream-colored linens, floral centerpieces in Fiona's favorite coral and mint, champagne flutes raised in countless toasts. A celebration meticulously planned weeks, maybe months in advance. A celebration I never knew existed until this moment. The sting is sharper because just last month, I sent Fiona a handwritten congratulations card with pressed flowers from my balcony garden. I'd even offered to help design her wedding materials, invitations, programs, whatever she needed, free of charge, a gift from one cousin to another. My Portland condo suddenly feels cold, despite spring sunshine streaming through the windows. The light that warmed me minutes ago now feels harsh, exposing. I realize in that moment I wasn't just forgotten, I was deliberately erased. I sink onto a kitchen stool, memories washing over me like a tide I can't escape. Last Thanksgiving flashes before me, Aunt Marlene's voice carrying across the dining room as she praised Fiona's recent promotion at the bank. Vice president at 29, she'd announced, beaming at my younger cousin. Always knew she'd make something of herself. Then Aunt Marlene's gaze shifted to me, her smile thinning. And Ocean, still doing that little hobby of hers, the logos and whatnot. That little hobby that paid for this condo. That little hobby that built a client list including 3 national brands. My parents had sat silently, nodding along, while relatives positioned Fiona as the golden one, right in front of me. Even when I'd mentioned the down payment on my condo, $150,000 I'd saved over 7 years, the conversation had quickly pivoted back to Fiona's engagement ring. My hands tremble as I pick up my phone again. I pull up my mother's contact information and press call before I can talk myself out of it. She answers on the 4th ring. Ocean, is everything all right? Her voice holds that familiar note of concern, tinged with judgment, as if she's already decided whatever I'm calling about is an overreaction. There was a bridal shower for Fiona yesterday. My voice comes out steadier than I expected. Everyone was there. Why wasn't I invited? A weighted pause stretches between us, then a sigh. Oh, that. Well, Marlene thinks you always make everything about yourself. Fiona deserves her special day. The accusation lands like a slap. Make everything about myself? When have I ever... Please don't start, Ocean. This is exactly what we wanted to avoid. Your cousin deserves to be celebrated without drama. I stand up straighter, suddenly aware that my shoulders have been hunched forward, my body instinctively making itself smaller. So, I'm drama now? That's what you all think of me? It's not personal, Ocean. Not personal. The same words my mother uses whenever she wants to dismiss my feelings. My free hand stops trembling. A strange calm settles over me as I realize this isn't a misunderstanding. This was deliberate, planned, discussed. I'm going to call Aunt Marlene. Ocean, don't. My mother's voice rises with alarm, but I've already ended the call. I find Aunt Marlene's number and dial, surprised by my own steadiness. When her voice comes through, clipped and impatient, I don't bother with pleasantries. Why wasn't I invited to Fiona's bridal shower? A pause. Then, I was wondering when you'd call. No apology, no excuse, just cold acknowledgement. You shouldn't be there. Fiona deserves a day that's just hers. Just hers, as if my presence would somehow diminish my cousin's happiness, as if I'm a shadow that might darken her spotlight. I'm her cousin, her only cousin. The words feel hollow even as I say them. Blood relation clearly means nothing. Listen, Ocean, Aunt Marlene's voice hardens. We've all discussed this. The wedding plans, too. I suggest you don't make this into something bigger than it needs to be. Some relationships in this family are already strained. The threat isn't subtle. Pushback and what little connection I still have with my family might vanish entirely. I stand at my kitchen window, staring at the city spread out below, and suddenly understand with perfect clarity. My family values appearances over genuine connection. They always have. I hang up without saying goodbye. The silence in my apartment no longer oppressive, but clarifying. A cardinal lands on my balcony railing, its bright red feathers vivid against the gray spring sky. It watches me for a moment before flying away, and I find myself wondering what it might be like to be that free. That day later, my phone pings with a notification while I'm sketching logo concepts for a new client. I almost ignore it. Deadlines wait for no one, but habit makes me glance at the screen. A group message from Aunt Marlene. Remember to bring Fiona's wedding flowers on Saturday. Good thing we didn't invite Ocean. Less drama. My pencils stop mid-stroke. The room tilts slightly as I lean against the kitchen counter, my breathing shallow, the phone screen blurring before my eyes. I blink hard, reading it again. This wasn't an oversight, not a simple mistake, a coordinated family exclusion. I take a screenshot before the message disappears with a soft whoosh sound. Deleted, but not before I captured the evidence. The notification shows Fiona, Aunt Marlene, and my mother all in the... My mother? Of course. The next morning, I drive to my parents' suburban home, the screenshot burning a hole in my pocket like a loaded gun. Mom answers the door in her gardening clothes, dirt smudged across one cheek. Ocean? What a surprise! I was just about to make some tea. I follow her into the living room, where she sits in her favorite armchair, settling into it with the comfortable ease of someone who feels secure in their position. I remain standing, suddenly aware of the family photos arranged on the mantel. Fiona's centered in most of them, my face half hidden in shadows or caught mid-blink. I got an interesting message yesterday, I say, pulling out my phone. Accidentally sent to me, but... Her face changes when I show her the screenshot. Not surprise, but resignation. She doesn't even try to deny it. We all agreed it would be easier this way, she says, smoothing invisible wrinkles from her pants. Fiona deserves a beautiful wedding without complications. Complications? The word tastes bitter. You mean me. Now, Ocean, don't be dramatic. She sighs, using the tone reserved for when I'm being difficult. Perhaps you should make other plans for that weekend in May. Other plans? I repeat, my voice steady despite the trembling in my hands. While my cousin gets married at the Grand Lake Hotel, that $95,000 wedding where every distant relative I barely know is invited except me? Mom's eyebrows lift slightly. How did you know about the venue? Cousin Rachel called last week asking about carpooling to the wedding. A small, cruel satisfaction blooms when I see her flinch. She assumed I'd be there. The silence stretches between us like a chasm, growing wider by the second. Your father and I think it's better this way, she finally says. The whole family agrees. The whole family has been told? What about me exactly? I ask, voice barely above a whisper. She looks away, fiddling with a loose thread on her sleeve. Just that you've always been sensitive about Fiona getting attention. The betrayal lands like a physical blow. Years of holidays where I sat quietly while Fiona was showered with praise. Years of watching my accomplishments dismissed while hers were celebrated with champagne toasts. You're trying to erase me from the family narrative, I say, the realization crystallizing. Everyone already believes I'm difficult because that's what you've told them. That's not true, she protests, but her eyes won't meet mine. It is true, and now I have no choice except being excluded or risk losing what little connection we still have. Mom stands, crossing to the window. I hope you'll make the right decision. Your father and I have been helping with your property taxes. If you make trouble about this wedding... If I make trouble? The words escape in a harsh laugh. Like standing up for myself? Like refusing to be erased? If this is exactly why Marlene thought it was best not to include you. Her voice hardens. Everything becomes a drama with you. 1. I leave without saying goodbye, driving aimlessly for hours. 3 client deadlines pass while I sit paralyzed in my apartment, unable to focus on the simplest design tasks. 3 days of potential revenue vanish while I stare at my phone waiting for someone, anyone in my family to say this was all a terrible mistake. No one does. That evening, Isla brings Thai food and wine to my condo, listening as I recount every detail. Unlike my family, she doesn't interrupt or dismiss my feelings. That's textbook emotional manipulation, she says, refilling my glass. They're gaslighting you into believing you're the problem when they're the ones excluding you. Her validation feels like the first sip of water after days in a desert. Marlene and your mom are tag-teaming to control the narrative, Isla continues. Classic toxic family dynamics. Later, alone on my balcony, I watch the city lights flicker on as darkness falls. The cardinal returns, perching briefly on the railing before flying away. As I sat there, sipping wine gone warm, I wondered whether I should attend the wedding anyway and force a confrontation, or step away completely and build my own celebration elsewhere. The family I'd known all my life was slipping away. But was it worth fighting for relationships that caused so much pain? Fiona's engagement photos appear on my Instagram feed at precisely 8:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. I'm midway through my first cup of coffee when her radiant smile fills my screen, her fiancé gazing at her with practiced adoration against a backdrop of autumn leaves. The caption beneath cuts sharper than any knife could. Celebrating our journey with those who truly support us, keeping our wedding intimate with only the people who've always been there. My phone buzzes 3 times in rapid succession, private messages from cousins I've exchanged perhaps 10 words with at family gatherings over the years. Why are you causing drama during Fiona's special time? Family should support each other no matter what. Aunt Marlene is so upset about your behavior. I set my phone face down